In this video, I'm going to be breaking down Metal Gear Online, what to expect, the future, and how this should be. And I would like the community to also get involved, post your comments as we go along. With that out of the way, I have a giveaway for the community as a thank you. We got MetalGearSolid Delta Snake Eater for you to get. And all you got to do is just leave a comment and I will check and see and select multiple winners and announce them in the videos. So make sure you stay tuned and then reply so we can get that prize. All right, with that out of the way, imagine making the greatest video game of all time in Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater and then having an online mode. Well, that's what happened, guys. And you probably missed out on it because not everybody knew that there was even an online mode for Metal Gear, even to this day, because it's not something that's universally known in every country, but we do have that. And Metal Gear Solid Delta, or in the near future, Metal Gear will end up giving us something. How do I know that? Because I'm about to show you a graph from an episode from the official Konami podcast where they get community feedback through surveys and they have discussions about the future of Metal Gear. On the right side, which I'm going to zoom into, is things you would like to see in the future. This was made by Konami, and the reason why I make sure that you understand that this is important is because they get to write what they want to display. And two of the main things, and one of them that we're going to be talking about, is Metal Gear Online. The plans for Metal Gear Online. What are the plans? Well, I'm going to try to answer that question. I want you guys to share your thoughts and get into it. I'm going to display just a little bit of some graphics for Metal Gear Online 1. This came out 20 years ago, and this is just some footage from my boy Tyler, who was nice enough to allow me to borrow some of the footage. It's just an amazing time to think about how far we've come graphically and gameplay wise, and the new iteration will be improved because we're going to talk about some of these features and things with these games and all of that good stuff. At the end of the day, Metal Gear is probably one of the most unique and fun games I've ever played. Personally, it is my favorite of all time. That's just me because, you know, I spent probably thousands upon thousands of hours playing it. And they have so many unique little modes and mechanics that make it very special. And so getting into the game, you probably won't stop. And that's something that I absolutely love about it. And I think the modern day deserves this. So I just kind of wanted to point out the original and then get into what's very important, which is the classic. This one right here, Metal Gear Online 2, which came out with Metal Gear Solid 4's release within the game. You had MGO 2, which is Metal Gear Online 2. And this was the biggest expansion for the online. The original only had 5 modes. It wasn't that big. It wasn't a lot going on. But for part 2, you had endless amounts of modes and different features that were so robust that I can't begin to tell you. And I'm going to get into some of that in a minute. But to explain, that's how Konami said we want to expand on this. And this is big in Japan. In America is okay, but I believe that this time around for the new iteration, we're going to get something special. And so just want to talk about what we could get in a second. Before we do, let's dive deep down the rabbit hole and go look at what I consider the best graphical Metal Gear Online, as you can see right here, MGO 3. This was actually the Phantom Pain's game official online mode, and they had a lot of good graphics, and each of these games always featured the mechanics of gameplay wise with the character from the actual games. So Snake Eater had a little more methodical play. Part 2 had the best strategical play, I think, and then the Phantom Pain was very fast paced. You can dodge, you can do a lot of different things, crazy weapons. It was pretty insane, to be honest, and I loved it. First of all, I'm not complaining about that, but the problem with this game specifically was the studio was closing down Kojima had a studio in LA that was doing all the online work. He decided to leave and create his own studio, and they had to shut that studio down as well. So this game never got the support. It never got everything that MGO2 had, and it was because of that. And that was a big problem, but it's okay because we have a future project coming, and it should be great. So we're going to get into some of that discussion right now. I want to take a moment and just display MGO2's menu. And this is just important so you can understand what you can do in here. You can join matches, of course, but also you can create your own with a password or public for everybody to join, add some comments, and then put in some different game modes. You can select the mode, the map, you can put on different features like headshots only and so on. It's a very cool design. And then, of course, changing the rounds and all of that. There's so many more features that I'm not going to showcase all of them. But MGO2 had the biggest, and I mean robust, with game modes, different settings you can change. You can host your own events. They had 2 online features where you had the tournaments and then you had survival, which was pretty much getting in-game rewards by playing other players, signing up, registering to play on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, whatever days they had the events, things like that. Very cool. Mechanically, they had a lot of good strategic play that's so legendary and unique. Of course, this is the official trailer, so it's not, you're not going to see the player by player action, but it's pretty much similar to this with a little more pro player style to it instead of, you know, cinematic versions. But that is something that in this game they had an expansions as well. They featured new characters, aka Solid Snake, and so many others. That was top tier stuff. And I want to just bring all that to the table to talk about what I believe the next iteration should do and how they should go. And this is where the video really started right now. Okay. In the end of the day, all of that is great. And I basically did an overview for you guys, but we need changes. Okay. I personally believe Metal Gear Online should be a free-to-play game that's announced separately from the actual story, because we're so excited for the story. We're not going to remember the onlines there for many people, and that's okay. Enjoy the story. It's phenomenal, but don't miss out on this. So I believe whether it's before or after, months later, 2 months later, after Snake Delta releases, that's when they should announce we have a free-to-play game and do a big market push. And I know people are not going to like things that I'll say in the future about possible season passes and cosmetics or anything like that. I get that people don't appreciate that stuff, but guess what? It sells and it helps companies keep going. So you have Apex Legends, Rainbow Six. These games are 5-10 years old almost. Destiny, you know, not Destiny, but games that are free to play. There are endless of them. Not all of them are great, but the ones that feature good stuff is what's important and critical, in my opinion, to help the future of the game. So just imagine these beautiful graphics that you're seeing from Delta, Snake Eater, but the features from MGO2, where you can customize, do things like that, have in-game tournaments that you sign up for, survival rewards, things of that nature that are spectacular. Then they got expansions that are free to play. You can get them if you want, with new characters and things like they did for MGO2. And then the community that wants to support those things like cosmetics, they can if they feel like it. But in the end of the day, it's a global free-to-play release of the official game with new modes coming out every season, new characters coming out every season, new outfits and different things all the time. And what that can do is bolster Konami's Metal Gear Online experience. I don't believe that they should stay within the game like they've done before for all of these releases. It's always been, oh, this is coming out with the game. And that's nice for somebody like me who's going to play the game. But if it can be separate and have its own marketing, then the world will know about it and it'll get bigger and better. because it has been a fun time to play these modes and these games. And I just can't wait for the graphical upgrade of a 4K version of this that is super special. And I'm very excited. And I just want to kind of point out that these guys in their episode that we're watching here, in this episode, they've had the gentleman on the far right who I actually met, who's worked on Metal Gear Online features for multiple Metal Gear games. All right. He's done a good job with them and doing his best that he can. And I believe that he's a big part of that as the creative producer who's basically big time. And there he is right here. So I'm excited to see what they're going to offer with that and then how they go about it in the near future. Again, this episode is why this video is being made. They did a good job presenting the future and discussing what we want, what we love, and so on. So personally, I do believe we can be good to go with the future of Metal Gear. Now, a couple of things that I want to note is if they did it like they did it in the past and they just had the games within the game and then, you know, it's free, of course, and they just put out expansions. I don't know if online games do that anymore. That's an old model. And so personally, my idea hopefully can stick and you guys can get behind it, because it just means a bigger budget and then more growth for the game if they have a marketing team just for online. And so that's what I'm looking forward to. News, something. If not, we'll be fine with that. As long as it has a lot of the MGO2 features. Doesn't need to have the gameplay. Of course, it's going to be made by Delta gameplay, but the actual features within the settings where I can create my own modes and do all the different things, it's always made MGO unique. And they had a lot of great modes and different things like that. And there was a discussion about a free-for-all mode. I'm sorry, a battle royale mode. And they were asking, is that something I want? Because everybody knows I love this. I would say that every game can try a battle royale mode and see how it does. Metal Gear is very unique because you don't need a weapon at all. So in this game, you can CQC, aka grab somebody and then take them down. And I personally believe that in a actual battle royale, I don't have a weapon, but we can have amazing fights, hand-to-hand combat. And there's no game that I know of that really does it the way Metal Gear does, where you can hold someone hostage like this, you know, slit their throat or drop them to the ground and do different things. I personally believe that that would be amazing as well. And that's where this free-to-play model comes in, where we can see the future. And of course, if you guys have better ideas as far as how this should play out, what I'm thinking of and hoping for is that they actually care about marketing the game and putting it out, not just making a trailer like this trailer for MGO3. They had 4 modes and that was it. And then they put out an extra mode or 2 and the studio was closed. So they didn't even have a chance to put on new modes and new features and all of that stuff. And that was a problem. And so I don't want that same thing. I want them to expand and to grow. So anything to keep this series going, especially the online aspect. I'm very competitive with this game and I'm excited about it. And so that's just one quick preview of a couple of thoughts of what could be. But I did want to discuss what they said and to let you know that they will have other episodes. And I don't know the timing of when these episodes releases. It's not weekly, it's not monthly. They kind of said that they're going to try to be more regular with the show and bring the guests together more often. And I think that's important because we want those updates. So that's pretty much the rundown. Make sure you go to that survey that I have in the comments to give feedback about Metal Gear to them. And then also make sure you enter that giveaway so you got a chance to win. I want everybody to have a chance. If you share this video, it's going to help me give more copies away. The bigger the community grows, the more I can do. And so make sure you do that and stick around for more. We have some deep breakdowns right now popping up on your screen. Go check that out. See you there. Peace.